Good evening and welcome to LCM TV Main News. I'm Stella Mdewe. Here are the top stories making headlines. ECZ launches online results verification system for the 2026 general elections. 50 megawatt Mansa solar plant commissioned in Wapula province. Burial impasse deepens in former President Edgar Lungu funeral dispute. And in international news, Israeli fire in Gaza and West Bank kills 5 Palestinians, including teenager. And Middle East conflict pushes fuel prices higher and disrupts European air travel. And in sports, Mwemba calls for nationwide remembrance of Zambia's fallen football heroes. Join me with the news in details after this short break.
Governance Space every Thursday at 21 hours on LCM TV. We bring your leaders to account and explain things that they will do for you. Catch the discussion 21 hours on LCM TV. LCM TV, doing it the right way.
The Examination Council of Zambia ECZ has launched an online results verification platform aimed at helping aspiring candidates confirm their academic qualifications ahead of the 2026 general elections. The digital platform, known as 2026 Election Confirmations, is available through the ECZ self-service portal. It was officially launched on April 23rd and is expected to operate from April 27 to May 11, 2026. The system enables candidates to verify grade 12 or equivalent qualifications, a key constitutional requirement for those seeking elective office in Zambia. It also supports verification results dating back to 1998, EDIA archived records, and foreign qualifications. Applicants are required to upload relevant documents, including a national registration card, and pay 100 kwacha for verification services and 30 kwacha for an official confirmation letter. ECZ says physical service centers will remain available for applicants requiring assistance. We have more in the following report.
The Examinations Council of Zambia has developed an online system called the 2026 Election Confirmations on our self-service portal and is now available for use by aspiring candidates and by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We deployed this system yesterday, Thursday, 23rd April 2026. The system has 3 sections, namely the section for candidates with results from 1998 to date. Those with results from 1998 to date. That is one section. The second section is for the candidates with results from 1997 and before. 1997 and before. And then we have the section for candidates with equated results from foreign awarding bodies. We have a section for candidates with equated results from foreign awarding bodies. It is important for the candidates to use the correct section on the system when undertaking the exercise. It is extremely important for the candidates to use the correct section when undertaking the exercise. The system requires those with examination results from 1997 and before as well as those who have accumulated GCE results, to attach their certificates or statements of results and a copy of the Green National Registration Card. It requires those who have results from 1997 and before to attach their certificate or statement of results and a copy of their Green National Registration Card. The aspiring candidates with the examination results from 1998 to date, are only required to attach a copy of their Green National Registration Card. Those with results from 1998 to date are only required to attach a copy of the Green National Registration Card. These documents should be uploaded in the appropriate fields as PDF files. They must be uploaded in the appropriate field as PDF files. While we have deployed the system already and people have already started using the system, we wish to announce officially that our official starting date for this exercise is Monday, 27th April 2026. The official starting date, Monday, 27th April 2026, and the official closing date is Monday, 11th May 2026.
President Hakainde Hichilema has commissioned the 50-megawatt Mansa solar plant in Mansa District, Luapula Province, in a major step towards strengthening Zambia's energy security. The project is expected to boost electricity generation in the province while reducing dependence on hydroelectric power, especially during periods of low water levels caused by drought and climate variability. Government says the solar facility forms part of broader efforts to diversify the country's energy mix through renewable resources and improve reliable power supply for homes, businesses, and industries. More details in the following report.
Since independence, we have had only one power station here. You saw the force there, with an installed capacity of 10 megawatts. For 61 years, 60 years plus, this is all we could do as the people of Zambia. One hydro power station, Musonda Force Power Station, with only 10 megawatts. Yet the consumption of electricity in this province is somewhere around 27, 30 megawatts, call it 30. And we could not generate 30 megawatts in the whole of Luapula province for 60 years. And we provided leaders in this country, including leaders from this province. And they could never think of just generating 30 megawatts in this province. And this UPND comes understanding the climate change issues, understanding the importance of the growing economy in Luapula, and the need to diversify the energy mix. We said there will be more power generation in Luapula through our energy reforms work. Today, we have the Mabumba 50 megawatts solar station. And we asked our own company, called ZESCO, to implement this project. And ZESCO did not look back. They said, Mr. President, to allow very important instrument. And ZESCO has delivered. May we clap for ZESCO. Neva Nandi, development starts in the intellectual realm first, the vision first, and then the plan, then the implementation. Then obviously, as we implement, we monitor and control for improvement. You're at Mabumba today. I want to remind the people of Mansa, the people of Wapula, people of Zambia, that no development takes place by chance. This project was envisioned. This project was planned. This project was delivered. Financing was raised. People worked here. They're still working here. Please hear me out. There is no luck in the area of development. Takwava ifyo. There is no witchcraft here. Takwava. What is there?
Meanwhile, Energy Minister Makozo Chikote says the new solar plant will also reinforce the national power grid and improve electricity access to underserved communities. He says the development reflects government's commitment to sustainable infrastructure investment, economic growth, and improved service delivery. We have more details in the following report.
Noisemakers who have been making noise over the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. Today now they are in agreement that your policies are yielding results. Luapula will never be the same. Yesterday, Mr. President, as we were engaging with our traditional leaders, they were informing us that Luapula now is a province that we need to start counting to add to the GDP of this country. How is the way we are making this province to have stable supply of power? And this is coming out of your good reforms and leadership. Mr. President, today is a very big day as we are seeing that what we are implementing, what we are commissioning today is leading the government of the New Dawn administration to achieve the universal access to electricity for our people by the year 2030 and position Zambia as a regional energy hub. As I conclude, Mr. President, allow me to express our deepest gratitude for your unwavering leadership and commitment to the energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, we have received continuously good leadership, support in the energy sector to resolve the challenges that we have faced as a country. You may wish to note that as Zambia, we were just depending on high.
Disability advocacy organization Enlight Abilities has appealed to government to construct more classroom blocks in special schools to address congestion following increased enrollment under the free education policy. The organization says the expansion of free education has significantly increased access to learning, but facilities in many special schools have become overstretched. Chief Executive Officer Miyoba Hamuhuma says institutions such as Magwero School for the Blind in Chipata are experiencing overcrowding, which could affect learning standards and worsen teacher-pupil ratios. He has called for urgent infrastructure investment to improve learning conditions for children with disabilities. Hamuhuma, however, praised government for the school feeding program, saying it has improved attendance, welfare, and participation among vulnerable learners. More in the following report.
But on this one, it has really made a huge change, especially to vulnerable children with abilities. You know, whenever I visit these schools, I will give a very good example. I was in Kampala, that was last month. Kampala, this is a school where we, of course, adopted one of the classroom block, 1 by 2. We have made it accessible for kids that are going to be enrolled, of course, under early child development. You know, we want to ensure that we strengthen the background of these children with disabilities. But of course, we are promoting inclusion. I was very happy when I found this young boy, you know, in a wheelchair, you know, busy with his couple, of course, under the feeding program also. And just not only him, a number of kids smiling, big smiles on their faces. You can see that these kids, even when they are learning now, they are full, they are happy. And I think that's also been a motivating factor for kids to go to school. You know, not each and every child, of course, they come from well-to-do families. Others, they have that food at school. That's the end. So I think this is really a good thing. And we keep on praying that this will continue, and that even, of course, other partners, of course, could also join hands with the government so that they could do more. And also just maybe also to bring in other dads so that this could be a balanced diet. Now, you also, of course, asked me about the free education. And I think before I even go to that, I think I was also very impressed because I was at Kablonga Boys. You know, when I saw President Againde Chilema, of course, interacting with those youngsters at Kablonga Boys, of course, from the unit, serving them food, I think that was immediate. And would want to see leaders doing that more often, not only occasionally, no. They should embrace disability, not only when they are functions, but in their daily lives, in their daily works. So now coming to the question that you have asked me about free education, it's a very good thing also, because we have seen more children going back to school, more children being enrolled, because of course it has lessened the burden on the parents. Despite that, of course, we have also noticed that I think for learners with disabilities, you know, of course others have got, you know, learning, of course, challenges, of course, disabilities.
The burial impasse surrounding Zambia's 60th Republican President Edgar Lungu has deepened after the government collected his remains amid continued disagreement with the family over funeral arrangements. Authorities in South Africa reportedly conducted a post-mortem examination, a move family members say was carried out without their consent. Family spokesperson Makebi Zulu has questioned the legality of the procedure and dismissed claims of poisoning, maintaining that court documents indicate the former head of state died of throat cancer. The dispute has drawn regional attention as legal proceedings in South Africa continue. We have more details in the following report.
Elsewhere now, the controversy over the burial of Zambia's former president Edgar Lungu has taken another dramatic turn. A South African court has ordered that his remains be returned to a mortuary, blocking the Zambian government's attempt to repatriate the body to Lusaka. Authorities want Mr. Lungu buried alongside his predecessors in the capital, but his family insists on a private burial in South Africa. Now, this dispute has sparked outrage, with many saying that the former president has suffered unimaginable indignity in death. Let's now bring in the BBC's Ningidaba Jonah Buyoya for more on this. Jonah, it's been almost a year since the former president passed on. Walk us through what's happened ever since.
A lot of things have happened, Wahiga, and I'd like for us to start off with the 5th of June 2025, because this is when former President Edgar Lungu died, prompting Zambia to declare national mourning and announce plans for a state funeral. But by mid-June last year, disagreements between the family and government over funeral arrangements halted plans to return the body back home in Lusaka. On the 19th of June, national mourning ended without burial, and a day later, the family announced plans for a private burial in South Africa. But later on in June, that same month, 2025, Zambia went to court to stop the burial. In August, a South African court ruled that the remains should be repatriated for a state funeral in Lusaka, but the family appealed this decision, leaving the body unburied for months up until now. Well, now, in April 2026, fresh court orders have seen these remains moved, then ordered to return to a funeral home, with May the 21st set as the latest court date in this continued discussion.
So many twists and turns, Jonah, sometimes it's hard to keep up, but for viewers who'd like to understand this further, where are these two parties, the government and the family, at loggerheads?
The family argues that former President Edgar Lungu left instructions that his successor, Hakainde Hichilema, who's the current president of Zambia, should not attend his funeral. And this stems from what you could only describe as long-standing disagreements, and these were never in best terms, these two leaders. And so they believe that former President Edgar Lungu was persecuted before his death, and therefore the current president should not preside or attend his predecessor's funeral. Government argues that this is a state funeral, and a state funeral in Zambia, they say, must be presided for by the head of state. There's no law to that effect, but there's precedent, as Zambia has lost heads of state before. So this is the insistence of the Attorney General and the Zambian government that a state funeral must be presided for by the president, and they're asking the courts to help compel the Lungu family have this body repatriated back to Lusaka for this state funeral.
What happens next? And I'm sure many would question, is there any hope of a resolution anytime soon?
A resolution is quite unlikely at this time, because now we're talking about almost a year. There have been several attempts at mediation between the Zambian government and the family, including heads of state from other countries, like former president of Malawi, and this has been unsuccessful. As we speak today, the Lungu family has gone to the Supreme Court of Appeals in South Africa because their initial appeal had lapsed, according to the Registrar of Courts in South Africa, which resulted in the Zambian government getting access to the former president's body. But they say that they still do not want the body to head out to Zambia to be buried by the current administration, and they're asking the South African courts to hear them and halt this process from going any further.
Jonah, thanks for following this.
We monitored BBC for that report. President Hakainde Hichilema has also officiated at the 2026 Luapula Expo in Mansa District, where he reaffirmed government's commitment to economic growth, industrialization, and private sector development. The president welcomed participation by local industries, including firms investing in agriculture and energy production, saying private sector involvement is key to job creation and national development. More in the following report.
So we are happy to see that Mansa Sugar and other businesses are also adding on to the generation side. But remember that all this is possible to have Mabumba there, to have Mansa Sugar and others producing electricity because of the reforms that this government has put in this sector and the economy overall. Open access, independent power producers, net metering we talked about today, and many other things. But generation is only one. In order to distribute, to transport power from the point of production, like at Mabumba, and what the excess power the Mansa Sugar is producing, we need to have transmission capabilities as well. So the 132 kV lines, Kasama, Mansa, we discussed with ZESCO, it's an absolute emergency. Absolute emergency. And we need to see the investments in that area, so we can now transport power from source to consumption points. That also goes for the 330 kV line from Penslo in the Central Province, Ranger there, coming into Mansa here. That too is extremely important, not just for one dimension in terms of movement, one direction of power, but multidimensional, at least two directions.
We now take another short commercial break. Still ahead, international and sports news. Stay tuned.
Les Lishima Classic Media, we can brand your brand. From backdrops to roll-up banners, vinyl and PVC banners, gazebo tents, t-shirt printing, flag banners, business cards. Get branded with Lishima Classic Media today, because here at Lishima Classic Media, we're doing it the right way.
Are you looking for the best aerial cinematography to capture your environment from above in 4K? Well, look no further. At LCM TV, we've got you covered with our professional drone and pilot that will enable you to shoot from unique perspectives. We deliver breathtaking shots with different recording modes such as photos, videos, panorama, time-lapse, and many more. For more info, contact the numbers on your screen. Get the best area shots with LCM TV.
At LCM channel, we have great programs for all age group. 80% local content. LCM TV. Doing it the right way.
Hi everyone, my name is Ken with the WMBO, Ken Dumbo, and you're watching Behind the Stars on LCM. So in every star, that's why I'm behind the stars. Anyway, why me that? Always make sure you watch and subscribe.
Israeli fire in Gaza and the occupied West Bank has killed 5 Palestinians, including a 15-year-old teenager, according to Palestinian health authorities. The latest violence comes amid continued tensions in the region and growing international concern over civilian casualties. We monitored France 24 for the report.
Exhausted rescue workers and volunteers clean this road in central Gaza, the site of a deadly Israeli airstrike. Ibrahim, who witnessed the attack, was one of the first to the scene.
There were no heads, no legs and no arms. We collected their remains from the streets. Flesh and bones, their brains from the road. All from the street. And no one should fool us by saying there's a ceasefire. There's no information about any ceasefire.
Another person was reported killed and several others wounded in a strike in Khan Yunis. The Israeli military claims it was targeting militants transporting munitions. The same day in Gaza City, mourners gathered at El Shifa Hospital, saying their last goodbyes to 5 people, including 3 children who were killed in an Israeli airstrike on Wednesday. This grieving mother lost 2 young sons.
Anyone who tells you the war is over is a liar. Anyone who tells you there is a ceasefire is a liar. Anyone who tells you we are living is a liar. We're not living, we're living under fire. Every day there are stray bullets. Every day there is fear. We are living in constant terror.
6 months after the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, Gazans have not been able to escape near daily violence. With both sides saying the other has violated the terms of the agreement, Israeli strikes have continued to rain down on the enclave. According to Gaza's health ministry, Israeli attacks have killed over 780 people since the ceasefire was put in place in October.
Rising fuel costs linked to the Middle East conflict are forcing several European airlines to cancel flights and increase fares ahead of the busy summer travel season. Industry analysts warn that prolonged instability could further disrupt travel, demand and place additional pressure on consumers. More in the following report by France 24.
This is Hamburg Airport, nearly empty. With dozens of flights cancelled, this could be just a taste of what's in store for travellers this summer. Lufthansa airline is cancelling 20,000 flights to offset the soaring fuel prices, which have skyrocketed since the start of the Iran war.
These are routes I relied on for work or to visit friends, but now it's going to be difficult.
The German airline is cutting its least profitable routes, including the connection between Frankfurt and Stavanger, Norway, and they are not alone. All European airlines are being forced to adapt. In March, Volotea cancelled roughly 50 flights departing from Strasbourg. While Transavia and Air France haven't yet cut flights, they are raising their prices, with Air France now charging an extra €100 for a round-trip long-haul flight and an extra €10 for a medium-haul flight. This retiree felt the sting while trying to book a holiday for her family.
It had gone from 800 to 850 euros, then straight up to 1,500 in no time at all. That's outrageous. That's awful.
France has managed to avoid the worst of these cancellations so far due to their energy supply being more diversified.
Germany's supply chain was more reliant on a single source from the Middle East, whereas France has many more partners. So perhaps all these constraints have pushed them into the red quicker than us.
To avoid a disaster summer at airports, the European Union is now considering a mandate for member states to build up strategic jet fuel reserves.
And finally, in sports, Football Association of Zambia President Keith Mwemba has called for nationwide participation in commemorating April 28th, the day Zambia lost its national football team in the 1993 Gabon air disaster off the coast of Libreville. Speaking during the FAS Eastern Province Annual General Meeting in Chipata, Mwemba said the day should be accorded greater national significance and observed across all provinces. He said remembrance activities must go beyond Lusaka and involve communities countrywide in honoring the fallen heroes. Mwemba added that while government and FAS have continued to mark the occasion, broader participation is needed to preserve the legacy of one of Zambia's greatest football generations. More in the following report.
The country now, let us take the commemoration of the Gabon disaster victims, our gallant men who perished off the coast of Gabon in Libreville on the 28th of April 1993. Those men died on duty. We have a duty as a country to honor them with the respect that they deserve. We have a duty to be in constant touch with their families. That day should not just be any other day. Effective or with immediate effect this year, we must change the manner in which we observe that day. Mr. Chairman and your executive committee, I want you to get in touch with the leaders, the Secretariat in Lusaka, and indeed I must make this pronouncement here in Eastern Province for all other 10 provinces, that April 28th must be a day that is special to this country. We shall be engaging government. Government has always been observing that, including FAS. But all I'm saying, we must take this day to be extremely special, to another level. It's a very, very important day which must be respected. If certain clubs, we lost the entire national team. But of course we have to rebuild. Denmark offered technical support and we managed to reach the Africa Cup finals in 1994, which we lost Nigeria at the Omenza Stadium in Tunisia. And years later, of course, 96, we reached the semi-final, lost to Tunisia in the semi-final, but we won bronze against Ghana. Years later, 2012, we won Africa Cup. And coincidentally, the team visited the site of the plane crash in Gabon there, and we won it. So I do not need to say more than I have already said. A hint to the wise is sufficient, and I know that men from the East are full of wisdom.
And that sports item brings us to the end of the main news at LCM TV. But before we go, here's a recap of stories making headlines. ECZ launches online results verification system for 2026. 50 megawatts Mansa solar plant commissioned in Wapula province. Burial impasse deepens in Lungu funeral dispute. Israeli fire in Gaza and West Bank kills 5 Palestinians. And Middle East conflict pushes fuel prices higher and disrupts flights. And finally, in sports, Mwemba calls for nationwide remembrance of fallen heroes. Thank you for watching LCM TV main news. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Stella Mbewe. Good night.